Right, we are about to start filming a project that has been painstaking to say the least. We've wanted to do this for so long. We've already had one attempt which failed, and that's quite a common theme. Underwater filming is far more difficult than normal filming, but it's something we have wanted to do for so long. And it is very much starting to feel like we are on the cusp of achieving something. Everything's in place, we just need to make it happen. We are at the beautiful Ashbury Fisheries, and this lake is somewhere I fished around a decade ago, so it's got a bit of a personal thing for me here. There's big carp in here, there's some lovely carp in here. It's a beautiful lake, it's crystal clear at the moment, and it should be the perfect setting for our, hopefully will be our first underwater film. But this is the easy bit. The hard bit is still to come, but we can only try our best, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Right, I'm stood in the entrance to a small bay. It's called the Little Bay, and this area, for as long as I can remember, has always been an area the carp favour. These days there is a rope across the middle of it which gives the fish sanctuary at the bottom end of the bay. Originally you could fish from there, there's snags, you could angle for them in that area, now you can't. So it's a bit of a safe haven, and we're going to go as far down as we can. There's a spot there, it's been cleaned off by fish, and that's the hard bit a lot of the time, is getting a spot that the fish want to eat on. Luckily for us, that's already there, and we just need to get our camera into position. We've got fish traffic because they come into this bay all the time. In fact, there's fish here now, but we need to put our camera on the spot, start feeding the spot, and hopefully build the fish's confidence up with the camera in position, because it is alien to them. And even when I put the camera in my pond at home, the fish are so aware that it is there, and that could cause us problems. So the spot's there, the bay is here, the carp are here, the camera is not in position yet, and today that's what we're going to be doing. Getting the camera out there, getting bait on the spot, and getting everything prepped for next week when the fishing will begin. So it's going to be tough, it's going to be graft, but I can't wait to get stuck in, so let's do it. To begin with, we did try the camera on a different spot. Unfortunately, the fish didn't feed there, the ducks did, but with that in mind, the first thing to do was get the camera out of the water and then think about repositioning it. We'd been given permission to use the boat, so I got the camera, jumped in the boat, pulled myself out using the rope until I was above the spot, and looking down onto the spot, it was lovely, clear, but there was a bit of a shelf, so you have to bear in mind the angle the camera is going to sit at. So it took a little bit of messing around to get it exactly where we wanted it, into position, and what looked like was going to be right. Perfect. Happy days. I'll tell you what, I'm glad I got the old rope to hang on to. That should be absolutely perfect. To make sure of that, I then went out, I marked the rope. Now, I'm going to be poling down to the spot, so I marked the rope with a bit of carrier bag, gives me a reference point, something to aim at. And then once that was in place, I started donking around with a rig. And once the rig was down there, we were able to properly look at what sort of leeway we've got within the spot. What's too close, what's too far. We needed to get it into position so that where I'm dropping the rig isn't too close to the camera, but isn't too far away at the same time. And that was a bit of a mess about. It took a little while, the rain started, as it was always going to, but eventually we were in a position where the camera was in position, firmly in place. We decided that the rig could sit within a certain area which suited and looked good on screen. It was time to get back to the bank and think about knocking up some bait. And as I stand here now, that is pretty much the last of my tasks for the day. Once the bait's in, it'll be time to let it rest, see what happens. For the first bait up, I wanted to introduce a mixture of different baits, and first into the bucket was a mixture of large particles, things like maples and maize. Next I wanted to add some pellet, and the pellet I was adding is very, very small, 2 or 3 mil. It's called Edge Pellet from Baitworks, and it's something I've used over the last 6 months to a year or so, so I've got confidence in that. Once that's into the bucket, give it a little mix up just to get the ratios right. I'm working on about 60-70% particle to 30-40% pellet. and then time to add some boilies. Now, I always fish with a mixture of different boilies, and first into the bucket was Royal Marine in 18 mil. But rather than just add whole boilies, I wanted to break some up. So using my fingers and thumbs, just break the boilies in half. It gives you a variation of different sizes. You get the little bits of crumb break off, that kind of thing. Then add some whole boilies once I've done that, and then add the second boilie, which is the Atlantic Heat, and once again, break the boilies in half. They're a little bit frozen, so I had to use my mouth at times to actually get them halved. Get them into the bucket, and then once again, add a few holes to the mix as well. Give the whole lot a good mix up, and then add some liquid fish. Now, it absolutely stinks. It's dark in colour, and I've used it a lot over the last few years. Loads of confidence in that. A really smelly liquid that's going to seep into the bottom and up into the water column. You know, loads of attraction packed in that. Give it a good mix around, and then last but not least, add some hemp. I love using hemp. I use it all the time. It's so oily. Carp love it. You know, it's just an all-time great, and no mix is complete without that as far as I'm concerned. So hemp into the bucket, give the whole lot a good mix up, and we're ready to go. Okay, time to put the bait in the water now. I've got a mixture of bait, as I said. I want the little items like the pellet, the liquid, all that sort of to break down into the bottom. Loads of attraction. We want to get this spot as clean as possible before the rig goes on it, because we don't want it to murk up too much. So these small particles, that's what they're for, and then the bigger food items like boilies, that's what I'm going to fish with at the time. It's a clay lake bed, so we could get a few issues with it murking up. Hopefully we won't. It will just depend on how much bait and the type of bait that we fish over. But the baiting part of it, this is all about getting the spot clean. And this concoction here will do just that perfectly. So let's get it in the water. Right, we are done. Camera in position, bait on the spot. The rest is out of our hands. But this is as close as we have ever been to our underwater film we've dreamed of. And now it will be anticipation over the next few days. I'm going to keep coming back down. I will check the spot and we'll see what happens. Top it up if needs be. And then on Monday, which is in 5 days' time, I'm here to fish for 3 days. And I cannot bloody wait. Let me tell you that. Right, home time. Don't fall in. Right, we're back in situ. It's been 2 days since we baited. We're now firing up the camera to see if the bait has gone. Hopefully it has. I've just seen 2 fish crews over the spot. They were up in the water, but fish traffic, my guess is they've eaten it. Or at least I'm hoping they have anyway. Believe it or not, I can actually see the camera on the bottom. That's the sort of clarity we've got here, so everything's prime. You can probably see the spot glowing there. Just pray there's no bait. The old cockerel. There we go, there's a fish. Probably just lost focus there, but I'm sure you saw him. Whoa, there's some more. So they're about. So in theory, that is about as much as we could have hoped for, really. We've been here 5 minutes. We've seen 5 carp, maybe 6, drift right over the spot. You know, the bait's been in there 2 days. Surely they've eaten it. Exciting times. We shall see. We shall see. Fingers crossed. Right, this is the moment of truth. He's fired up the camera.
Wait, sort of bait there.
Still bait there? How much?
It's been moved about, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah. The body's all like exposed now, but...
Let's have a look. Let me have a look. Alright, so this is what we're looking at. There is still bait there. Not as much as I would have thought. I've certainly put a lot more in than that, so something's been eating it. I did put a lot of bait there, you know, so we'll see. Oh my God, literally seconds ago, I stopped recording, the fish has come straight in and dropped down on the back of the spot. Yes! Well, there we go, people. That is our first sighting of a carp eating, like I just said. You know, it's a lot less bait than what we put there. I think there's another one coming in the background. Bit of like squeaky bum time then, we know, like we're thinking, oh, was it birds that have cleaned it? But like, I put a lot of bait on that spot and there ain't a great deal left, really, is there? You know, 2 days. That's a lot of bait on a margin spot as well, you know, so. Oh,
so
what's that?
Tower in the corner.
Yeah, there's a fish right near the camera. Hang on, let's watch this again. To see some...
Shadows coming in here.
Yeah, did you see a shadow like coming in over the spot? Look at all the life, look at the Daphnia, look. That Daphnia must be attracted to all that food. Maybe it's not, but look at it all. Swarming with Daphnia it is. Well, Bridger, I don't think we could have hoped for more than that.
It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
In fact, I'm actually glad there's bait left there because it means 2 things. We've actually been able to see a fish come down and eat.
It's going to happen, I think.
It's going to happen. Happy days!
We'll watch this all day.
Yeah. Tench. We don't want that. He can off. Proper activity though, this. Right, we are happy, boys. We're going to leave it as it is. There's enough bait on the spot. I don't want to overdo it. I'd rather let them completely polish it down to nothing and then maybe come back on Sunday, which is in another 2 days' time, and put a little bit in, you know, the day before we're going to come down, which is the Monday. So that's a lot of bait, you know. The amount of bait I put on that spot is way more than I would put on if I was going to fish that spot 2 days after baiting. I would never put that much on it, you know. So I've overloaded it for a reason, and there is still bait there, but you know, the carp are clearly coming in and eating, as are the tench and whatnot, and probably a few birds as well. So we're going to leave it, go home, and I'll come back on Sunday, check it once again, and then if there's no bait there, probably put a bit more in. I don't really want any bait on the spot come Monday when I actually fish. So happy days, buzzing, we're getting close. Right, we're back again. We're seeing fish regularly now, good fish and all. So there's all the bait is now gone, and we've got carp coming right over the spot. They're looking for bait. One actually just dropped down. He didn't properly feed. There's no bait there. I'm convinced of that. The spot has been smashed to bits. You can just tell the difference. You know, looks like they've had a right good go. Loads of stones have been dug up. It's perfect. The only slight, there's a carp coming in the background now, I think, or a tench. No, it's a carp. No, it's a tench. The only slight problem we've got is that the camera seems to be slightly dirtying up now, where it's been in the water a little while. I think there's a little bit of like shit appearing over the lens, so I'm gonna have to try and get rid of that at some point. I can't really do it today because this guy's fishing and I probably need the boat, so don't know. Have to play it by ear. But yeah, all good signs. It's game on, I think. And tomorrow morning we turn up to fish. Right, I'm going to put a bit of bait in. I've just knocked this up. I'm not going to put a lot in, just a bit. And it's a mixture of broken boilies, hemp and a little bit of pellet. as of tomorrow, probably just fish boilie and maybe a tiny bit of hemp. But I'm starting to increase the amount of large food items now, because as I mentioned before, it's a clay bottom. So, don't want to get it murked up too much, but a nice little mix of stuff, just to give them some more food, because I feel like they want more. The day is finally here, and I cannot describe quite how good it feels. I've already mentioned it, but it's been a bit of a process to get to this stage, but we are fishing today, the camera's in position, and as far as I'm concerned, everything is rocking and ready to go. Just driving along the lake now. It's a beautiful morning, great temperatures this week, the fish have been there. As it stands, it feels like things are going smoothly, or at least have gone as smoothly as we could hope for. The rest will be determined by what happens when we're fishing. We can do no more than what we have done. But I cannot wait to get my rods out, so that's the mission now. Set everything up and try and catch a carp. Mate, this is the original bushwhacker, mate.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, super keen to get the rod in the water, but before I did that, you have to go through the stringent checks that I always do every time I'm about to get a rig ready to go into the lake. Never do I just grab it and chuck it out. It's simply not how I work. So everything is meticulously checked, put together to suit what I'm doing. And in this situation, I'm fishing right in the edge. So I go with a tried and tested rig that I've used in this situation time and time again. Everything I'm using and everything I'm going to do here is what I would normally be doing in a fishing situation with or without cameras. So rig out the box, always turn up prepared, never turn up with no rigs. My rigs are always the same, but I adjust them according to what I'm going to be fishing on the end. So in this case, I'm using a wafter, and because of that, I choose a smaller shot than I would if I was using a pop-up. The shot is just pinched onto the hair as and when I need to. And then once that's done, on goes the hook bait. And in this instance, I'm using a 15mm white wafter. It's been glugged in all sorts of bits and pieces, so it's a slightly duller colour than bright white. And I actually like that fact that when it's over a gravel spot, which it often is in the edge, it doesn't stand out too much, but it is still quite visible. This is mounted onto the hair, and I use dental floss so that I can adjust the length of my rigs. As I said a second ago, I use the same rig all the time, so I adjust the length of the hair. That suits the bait, whether it's a small bait or a big bait. The floss enables me to switch between the two. And I'll have a little bit of yellow foam on the hook bait as well. I always do this when I'm fishing on the deck. I don't really use snowman rigs. I don't really use big bright hook baits in the edge, but I always have just that tiny little fleck of colour on top of the hook bait, just to grab a little bit of attention. And in this case, it's probably going to help us see it on the camera, which is an added bonus. The cameras are rigged up and ready. The rig is ready to go in. Hook point checked, everything checked one final time, and a fresh coat of Camo Coat, which stops the corrosion once in the water. And that's something I find really important with sharpened hooks. So we're pretty much ready to go. All the checks are done. Last thing to do is have a little look in the snag and just see if there's any fish present in the bottom of the bait. See pretty well into the snag. Doesn't look like there's fish here. There's probably one somewhere, I would have thought. It's a bit brighter today. In fact, it's a lot brighter than it has been the last few days. It's pretty hot, so you know, it might change their behaviour slightly. But I'm just going to get the rig in the water now. Looks lovely. One thing that can easily be overlooked, and there's something I always pay a lot of attention to, is the line lay and the position of the rod. So before I got the rod into position, I spent a little while just checking where everything was going to be pointing. Don't want the rod facing too far out into the lake. I don't want the rod to be too obvious. It's very clear water. And I don't want the fish to be able to come into contact with my line. So the plan was keep the rod at an angle down tight to the bank, keep the line tight to the bank, out of the way in which I think the carp are going to come in and out of the swim. So if you think they're travelling, say, a rod length from the bank, you want to keep as much of your line as possible inside that. And that's exactly what I've been able to do. A couple of days ago, I took a couple of branches out. I went out there in the boat, just clipped a few bits and pieces off, only very minor, but just enough to help me get the pole through the trees and onto the spot, my line down and out of the way. And it's something really worth paying attention to. On a busy lake, line lay is really important, and I've looked at this swim and I think this is the best way of fishing it. Right, the final piece of the jigsaw, 5-ounce lead, little piece of rubber inside there. Plug my swivel, wrap the lead core around the side of the lead, and just pop the tail rubber on. And that's my drop-off inline set up. We'll probably look at that in a bit more detail later on, but for now, I just like to get it in the water. Right, I've just seen a fish trashing the spot, proper clouding it up. It's about 20 to 12, so day is kind of getting on, but we need to get this in the water. A little bit of foam completes the trap. Okay, got my poles to my right, my rods to my left. Hold the line in my left hand, hold my pole in the right hand. Rig on, and into the spoon. Right, lead in the spoon. And at the end here, I've got two little tongs and make it a mouth trap. And I just use them to grab around the bait. So lead sits at the back of the spoon, rig at the front. That's all good to go. And then at this end, I've got a little bead at the top of the leader. I'm just going to pop a back lead on there, like so. And that will drop off if needs be, and just pop out. And one thing I don't normally have is a GoPro on the end, so I'm hoping that ain't going to cause me any jip, but same for the stars, eh? If you're going to do an underwater, we may as well make it as good as we can. Trusty pole shot. All right, let's go for it. Right, Note the back lead. That's going to stay butted up against that bead all the way out. I want that at the back of the leader. Gently does it. Right, slightly annoying. The breeze I had on my side is now gone, which just means I've got to cater for that, because I was going to use that to drift the pole in. Now I don't have that option so much. Now there's a fish off the back of the spot. Right, this is almost ready to go. Okay, that's sweet. Oh, hang on. I think Ash was watching the camera. He just said, bang on the money. Should have been. Was it sweet? Are they there already? Right, there's fish on the spot as I've dropped it. So, let's get this rod in a rest, go look at our screen. Yes! Oh, I'm buzzing. But before I do that, I must put a little bit of bait out. I like to do it separately, just in case it doesn't go right with the rig first time. You're not introducing bait into the wrong places. I like to do my bait separate. And you'll notice, not a lot of bait either. Don't fish over a lot of bait in the edge very often. Right. Right, that's bait in. Bridge has told me the rig looks sweet, so I'm happy with that. I want to try and make it as real as possible, you know. I don't want to keep repositioning it. You would never get to do that in a normal fishing situation, so as long as it's visible, I'm leaving them, you know. Oh, let's get this pole in, a couple more sections. We'll go have a look. And underwater filming begins now. Okay, so I'm looking at the spot now. Seems to be like a bug or something over the screen, which is really annoying. It's like a big slug or something. The rig is in position. It's got the slight curve in it, which I like. I don't want the rig dead straight. I like to just have that little bit of curve in it, and I always envision I get that, which I have got. The lead sat there, the leader looks to be sunk quite well. Sort of near edge of the spot, which is good. Don't want it set too central. Obviously the fish feed, they come into contact with the line, etc., and the bait is just beyond the rig. So as it stands, everything is pretty much as I would like it. There isn't a lot I would change. Looking at it now, there really isn't a lot I would change. So we'll see what happens. Apparently there was a fish there when the rod went in. See, I couldn't see that. You never do you? Until you get this view. But yeah, this thing needs to get off the screen, and the carp needs to come back, and I reckon we're in the game here. There's a tench coming. Look, two fish. Are they two tench? Look at Dave, Dave's just getting in on it. We've got two tench. Stand around there, Ash, behind it. Yeah, look. I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're tench or not. Oh, it's a tench. Off. I'm going to catch that. Straight away, look, first rig it's going to have. No, got him. Spat me up. Yes.
He's reset it better.
Yeah, get out. No way. I'm going to catch a tench.
Oh, look at him.
Oh, go away. How good is that? He spat it out. Yeah. Yeah, picked it up and spat it out, mate. Tench do that, don't they? That's good, mate. That's part of the rig. Right, just been done by a tench. Right, Dave, I'm gonna have to go. I'll ring you soon. I'll ring you soon. Bye. No. Bye. No. Right, I've just been done by a tench, which is good. Oh, there's a tench coming back. I don't mind catching a tench. Where's it going? In the tench pen?
Yeah.
There's only 2 tench in here, they're the 2 feeding.
Rig's sitting fine though. Always have a rig that resets.
Kicks it back out, doesn't it?
It's so perfectly in position. I really hope it doesn't have to be.
Can't believe out of all that bait, you just come down and pick that one up straight away.
Straight away. Weird, isn't it?
The carp were feeding on the right-hand side of the spot.
Yeah.
Have you been seeing that as well?
Well, they just this morning
Started cleaning up here, didn't it?
Yeah.
I reckon it's stuff that's pushed into the
Sediment.
off the spot into the weed. They're feeding around the edges. I've noticed them dropping here and that.
They're just safer than.
Right, well, I've been picked up, spat up by a tench, but it's reset. Everything's sweet. It's a waiting game now. Hopefully a carp will come back. They were here earlier, and I'm sure they'll come back. What is that noise?
Bird up there.
Something's going on. Oh, he just dropped down. Oh, he had a good old go. Oh, hang on.
Pizzas.
All right. Fish just came in, all agitated. He was right up for it. I think he might be in the back of the shot now. You could tell he was up for it. Dropped straight down centre of the spot, had a mouthful. I don't think that was a bad fish either.
I was too busy cooking pizza.
Yeah, we was just about to have some lunch. Aeroplanes are out in force today. I don't like aeroplanes. Mate, that was epic. He looked.
He didn't hang about, did he?
No, he just came down, wallop, went off. He'll be back though. He's had a he knew there was food there. He knew there was food there, like, and that's why you pre-bait, because they know there's food there. No doubt. Here we go. He's coming back. 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 Come on, God. Oh, look at me. He's not a bad fish, mate. Oh, I reckon he wants to turn and come back at it. Come
That's
on.
as exciting as it gets, isn't it?
Come back.
Now?
Oh, what time is it? Got so much data to log.
20 past.
1:20, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, tench again, isn't it? Is that a tench? Is it a tench? It's a tench, isn't it?
Yeah.
Chunky
Looks like
tench.
it,
Go away, tench. Go away, tench. Go away, tench. Go away, tench. No, go away. Oh, look at, oh, look. Go on, off you go. Right, we've come, well, I'm stood in the mouth of the bay. Come out of the little hut, it's a little bit claustrophobic in there. My eyes are starting to hurt from staring at the screen all day. Rig's been in for a couple of hours. Now, I've been picked up by a tench, I've had a carp drop on the spot twice. You know, you'd never know any of that. You'd just think nothing's happened. And in terms of catching any fish, nothing has happened. But yeah, as we kind of knew, we're gonna see a lot of things happen that we didn't know would happen without that view. You know, if you sit up a tree, you can see it happen, but you know, sat on your bed chair away from the water's edge, you ain't got a clue. So very interesting so far. Been spat out, the rig's sat back proud, happy days, nothing to worry about there. I have had a bird diving on me, and I only put a little bit of bait in a spoon. 7 or 8 bits of boilie, bit of hemp, bit of pellet, very small amount, but as far as the larger items go, probably 7 or 8. With that in mind, I've had a coot dive on me 5 or 6 times, and I can see that the bait is really thinning now. There's hardly anything left, so I'm going to put a little bit more out with a spoon. I'll do it from the gap next door, just to avoid that coot turning up, diving down, picking up the hook bait. That's the theory anyway. Okay, so a bit of bait back on the spot now. The coots are down there in the corner. Said earlier, I don't want to do anything I wouldn't normally do. You know, so if the rig gets spat out and stuff, I'm going to try to leave it. But things like that, obviously I'd have eyes on this spot as much as possible. I'll be watching the birds, things like that. So if you're seeing birds diving, you know, you need to take into account how much bait they're going to be eating. And when you're putting out a very small amount of bait, you know, you need to be even more aware of what's going to be left. So if a bird dives 5 or 6 times, you've only put 7 or 8 boilies out there, do the maths, how much bait is left, not a lot. So little top up, do 2 things, guard me against the birds, a little bit more fresh attraction back in the swim as well. So kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Excuse the pun. The lake is around 9 or 10 acres, something like that. I don't know the exacts, but it's a very broken up lake. And what I mean by that is every time you turn the corner, you've got something different. Lots of bays, the lake is up and down. It's a really interesting place, and I did fish here a number of years ago and I did a lot of edge fishing on here. In fact, it's probably the first place I really got into my edge fishing. It's exciting, and when you've got the clarity on your side like you have now, you can always see fish. The area I'm fishing is part of 2 bays in the sort of central part of the lake. We call one the little bay, one the big bay. I'm fishing in the little bay and the big bay is just the other side. The top end of the lake has got quite a large island in it, and they love that end of the lake when there's east in the wind, and there has been in the build up to this trip. For the last week, maybe 2, the wind has been blowing northeasterly, prime for that end and prime for the bays. When there's east in the wind, it blows into the bays and they love that. Unfortunately for us, as it stands, the wind is blowing southwesterly. It hasn't blown that way for quite a while, and that is now pushing down to the bottom end of the lake. And for that reason, I think there's less traffic in the bays today. It hasn't blown that way for a while. It's a fresh wind, and because this is a deep lake, the fish do spend a lot of time, especially at this time of year and into the summer, up off the bottom. And when they do that, it's very easy for them to move on a wind. So as it stands, I'm kind of wishing the wind to stop or at least ease. But is what it is. There will be no moving on this session. The spot is the spot, and we just have to hope that the carp will turn up, which they will. You know, there's snags here, they like that. And of course you've got the rope here. So for those 2 reasons alone, we will get fish traffic in the bay, I'm sure of that. Oh, here we go, look. Sorry.
You're gonna have him.
Look.
That's your hook bait.
No, that was the boilie. Look at that.
Where's your hook bait?
Boilie's there, hook bait's there.
That's a touch.
I thought that was your hook bait.
No.
Write it down.
Go on, write it down. I need to check this.
You got your phone, mate?
In typical coot fashion, the coots at the bottom of the bay were persistent and picking up bait here, bait there. So with that in mind, once again, I topped the spot back up. Only another 5 or 6, I call them baits. Some were whole, some were halves, but enough just to top the spot back up. And just a second ago, I've been picked up again by a tench. Look, he's come back, We're gonna get a bite, we're gonna get a bite. Oh, I'm gonna catch a tench. No, go away. Oh no, look, I've got him. Oh, he spat me out again. He spat it out again, the tench.
Your shit tench.
That is a small tench, bro.
He spat me out again. Right, Dave, we'll have to... He spat me out, hang on. Dave, call Dave back.
I'll ring you back, mate.
Oi, do you want me to bring some proper rigs?
Spat out again.
It's alright though, isn't it?
Tench do that, mate.
No, but what's the rig sitting like now? Look, is it turned over?
It's one of them. It's like, it sort of maybe looks a little bit like it's looped around a stone. The rig has reset itself. It looks okay. Potentially looped around a stone. Not 100% sure, it's quite hard to tell properly, but we'll leave it be. And remember, I'm not a tench fisherman. So until I start getting spat out by a carp, nothing to worry about. I've seen tench do this loads of times over the years, watching them out the trees and stuff like that. Here comes another one. Oh, there's 3 of them. Oh no, army of tench, 4 tench. Oh God. Oh, they're like, oh dear. 4 of them having a good old go. Remember what I said, I'm not a tench angler. Go away, go away, go away. Oh no, this is going to happen, isn't it? It almost has to happen. Oh, he's eating right next to the... Oh, go away, he's got me again. Oh, he spat it out again. How do they do that? They just spit it out. Well, there we go, spat out again. Good, that's all I'm going to say. Come on, Carp. Right, I'm going to put a little bit more bait in again. There's only a few boilies left. Well, should I do that or not? Or just leave it? Because I wouldn't know that was going to happen, would I?
You probably wouldn't put bait in, would you?
No, I wouldn't. I don't know the tension in it, I've got no idea. Do I leave it?
I don't think there's hardly anything there.
It's hemp and stuff. Do you know what? I'm not going to put bait in. I'm just going to leave it.
The only thing is if the tench come back in, all that's left.
It is what it is. I just want to make it as natural as possible, so. I've got tench back on the spot. It's getting on now, it's like nearly 8 o'clock, I think it's about 7:30. I've got a snail right in the middle of the screen, but there's a tench off the back of the spot. Put a bit more bait back out there, the coots have been on me again. Still pretty good light though, considering. I thought I didn't think we'd have visibility as good as this at this time of day, which is a good thing. The wind has stopped pumping across the other side as well now. So that could do us a favour. That's really killed us today. Ever since that wind picked up, it's just gone dead. And I've been here a bit recently, checking the bay. The wind's been blowing in there, it's been fish there every time. So a bit gutted about that, but it's early days. As I've said all along, this sort of stuff does not happen easily, so we'll see what these tench are saying. Which seem to have gone, which is good. Do that snail going, to be fair. We're making a video.
Oh, like on what? On the lake?
I'm making an underwater tench video.
Say, one carp, a bunch of tench.
You getting tench out there?
No, just feeding. Oh.
Go on, catch a tench. Go on, Mr. Tench. Go over that
no,
way.
we
Yes,
don't. We
go
don't.
down,
We
go
don't.
down.
No. We don't want to catch a tench.
Yeah, you do.
No, we don't.
Yeah, you do.
So we catch a tench now. We won't be catching a carp before it gets dark.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. It's something to actually catch.
No.
You catch something.
No, it doesn't work like that. Carp fishermen only.
Really? What
Yeah.
if you?
I'd rather not put a hook
What
in a
if you
tench.
caught the world record rudd?
I would still rather try and catch a carp.
Really?
Yeah, because
So you'd have a Guinness World
two
Record?
reasons. One, I'm not fishing for rudd, so it wouldn't really count. And two, then I won't catch a carp. We're not here to catch rudd, boy. We're not here to catch tench either. Okay, day one, drawing to a close. It's been an interesting day. It's been a frustrating day at the same time. You know, the wind turning absolutely killed it. They've been in here constantly. I've been coming down here checking. They've been here all the time, but the wind's been coming in here. As soon as it turned, it went dead. It's been pumping down the other end, fresh wind, quite strong, you know, and that was the kiss of death, unfortunately. But I'm sure these fish will return. I don't have any doubt about that. Day's drawing to a close, so it's time to reel in soon. Not going to fish the nights. If we catch a carp, we want it to be on camera, and I'm just going to spend the last little while prepping a rig for the morning because the rod will be going out at first light tomorrow. We had to wait this morning for the guys that were occupying the lake over the weekend to pack up. So we didn't get the rod in the water till nearly 12 o'clock, or about 12 o'clock. So we missed the morning period, which, you know how it is often the best period. So we'll be up at the crack of dawn, ready. This rig will be fresh and ready to go. We'll drop it straight into position and hopefully catch a carp. Right, rod is about to go back in. We've waited for it to get a little bit lighter than planned. Two reasons for that. One, we wanted to film the rig going in properly. Turns out we actually didn't do that right yesterday. So we want to get this one going in. Now, I baited up last night in the dark. I had to go home last night, but I baited before I left. Not with loads, but I've been baiting and it's been going overnight when I've been doing it in the build up to this. So I thought, right, we'll keep a bit of bait going in. The bait is still there. It's 15 degrees odd today, grey, cloudy, and that strong southwesterly again. So I can't help but think that is really screwing us, but I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to get the rod back in position and we'll cross our fingers. Like I say, it's a safe zone. It's one of their safe zones in the lake. They will turn up. I'm just freaking out a little bit, but let's get the rod in the water. Right, we're getting there now. Just got to do this gently, carefully, slowly, don't rush it. Only time you need to rush it if there's a wind. Okay, rig's on the spot. You'll notice as the lead lands, the rig sits up straight with the foam. I use that foam for several reasons. One is to protect the hook. It's not really that so much, it's more just to see my visual marker. Sometimes put a bit of bait over it, that sort of thing. When the rig foam dissolves and the rig pushes away from the lead, rather than it kicking out dead straight, it will fall, not too slowly, not in a pile, falls out not quite straight. So you end up with a little bit of a curve in the rig. That is how I prefer it to sit, because if a rig is laying flat at say 7 inches and a carp is 8 inches away from it, it cannot enter the mouth. If a rig of 7 inches is sitting with a curve in it, which puts the hook bait, say, 6 inches from the lead, you've got that extra inch of give. So as the fish picks the bait up, you just get that slight extension in the hook link. If your hook link is dead straight, the carp have to move physically onto it. Now, they're very small things that a lot of the time don't matter, but I personally would always rather have a rig that kicks away from the lead, but still sits with a slight curve in it. And that seems to be what's happening here, which is happy days. So everything is out there perfect. That's gone out there sweet. First time, had a bit of drama with a GoPro trying to sink my pole, filling it with water, filling the spoon with water. That was almost a bit of ag, but we're good. We've dropped it. First time, right on the money. Happy days. Get the rod in the rest and start watching the screens again. No bait going in, of course, either. There's already bait on the spot. Right, we've had the rod in the water about half an hour or so now. We've had a carp approach the spot. Didn't do a lot, he just sort of appeared, had a look and then disappeared. So that's a good sign, at least there are still fish visiting. And we've had a tench drop down and feed. That's about it so far. It's approaching, sort of getting on for 7 o'clock now, so good signs. I think some of the bait I did put out last night has gone, like more asteria. I think I put a bit more than that in. I didn't put loads in, but I think I put more than what is there now. So something's been in, could be tench, could be carp. Probably tench. I'd expect carp to clear it if they'd been in, but we'll see. He looked big. Where's he gone? He's like, is he still there at the back of the spot? Right, we don't know if this is appearing on the screen, so I'm going to sort of say this just in case we're not capturing it. At the back of the spot, twice now I've seen, I thought the first time I'm pretty sure it was a carp, just seen it happen again. And Bridget was like, that's a carp, I totally agree. So there are fish about. If it weren't a carp, it was a very big tench. Two carp. Go on. Right, two carp fed.
That was out of the blue.
Out the blue, from literally nowhere, just down onto the spot and fed. They'll be back. Surely they're going to come back unless they hate the camera to the point where they're scared of it. What's that in the back of the shot? No, it's a little tiny something.
You was just saying that.
Just like out the blue like that though.
How bad it was. Good.
They'll just appear,
Much
chomp chomp, and then they go again.
Yeah.
Why are they not stopping, holding and eating? It's weird that. They're like dive bombing the spot and then going again. It's quite weird behaviour, I think.
Maybe they are scared of the camera.
So I was just watching the screen and I see something like drifting through. I don't know if you'll see it on the camera. It doesn't record everything, it's sort of done on motion, so I'm not sure if it would have been triggered by that, but something was drifting down through the water onto the spot. And then I just clocked in the background there a black shape, so something's fed, come up off the bottom, spat out what it doesn't want to eat, and then swam off. I think it was a carp. Didn't look like it doesn't seem like very tench-like behaviour, that. That's proper, that's classic carp, you know, drop down, tilt up, have a little swim, chuck out. But, I don't know, it was right at the back of shot, hard to tell. Stuff going on though. Carp, 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 two carp feeding. Go on, boys. Just a little mouthful again, 2 fish come in. Bridget's just cooking breakfast. We're gonna have our breakfast. Hopefully they're about to have theirs. Camera's a little bit dirty today. I'm gonna have to clean this tonight. I have to get in the water and sort it out. Oh, here we go, back again. Something just over the top there. There you go, wafting around the weeds. Something's going on here. Oh, mate. Oh, he's just come right back in. Right up to the camera that time. He's wafted the bottom, everything. Come on, this is better, this is a bit more regular now. Here we go, he's coming in, he's back. Go on, have a go, that's it. Go on. Oh, you're right in front of the camera. Oh, there's no, oh, here we go, there's more, quick, come here, look. Sit down. Look, these are better ones. They're having, look, several carp now. Better ones, mate. Get up there. 4 of them, 5 of them. Look, oh my God, 6 of them. Oh, there's just loads of them. Holy shit. Oh, come on.
Where have they been hiding?
That's like 6 carp, they're coming back, mate.
He's just charging.
He says it's not charging, but...
It's lit up charging.
Yeah. I don't know if that means if it's not gaining any power. We're slightly scared now. Our laptop's gonna die. 6% still.
Oh no, it's attached. It says power adapter.
Yeah.
Well, I've got, sorry.
That is so exciting when they turn up. Just like out of nowhere, wallop, 5, 6 carp on the spot. I've gone again now. Why'd you have to do that? There we go, oh, there's one back there. Oh, they're back now. Wafting, yeah. Oh, he's coming all the way in, gone to drop down and then just turned away. I feel like it's just too close to the camera and they're just a bit scared. I was just saying to Bridger a minute ago, I think we're on the edge of the spot. You can tell the colour, like by the coloration, where it's been most heavily fed on. And the rig and the bait that is there is sort of sat on the edge of the light where it meets dark, which would tell me that obviously the light meeting dark, the lighter part is obviously where it's fed, the fish are fed the most. I think we're borderline too close to the camera. I think they will eat there, I just don't feel like they're as confident, and watching them, they want to eat the food and then they don't. And that tells me something's putting them off. So what could that be? Probably the camera. Can't really be anything else. We'll see. I'm going to hold fire for a bit. There are fish still in the area, so we'll see. Jim, look, he's happy to feed there, right? He's happy to feed there. Watch him, look, confident, feeding, eating, eating, eating. He don't want to come here, mate.
There's nothing behind him, is
Yeah, I think so, but they don't want to come close. They drop there and they stay there and they eat. You can tell by the clarity, like that difference between black and yellow is the difference between where they eat and where they don't want to eat. And I think this is too close to the camera. They want to eat that food. They just ain't got. They're just too scared. They drop down here, fine. Every time I've seen them, they actually hit the deck there and eat. They get scared here.
Move it then. Put it out.
I think it needs to be moved.
Put it here. That's what you want it,
Yeah. Foot 18 inches left, away from the camera. If I can get a lone rig there, with a tiny bit of bait plopped round it, it's almost like this bait
It's
is
almost like
here.
being pushed off, isn't it?
Yeah, that bait's there, and my bait is the safest. I think that's all it is. I think they don't want to eat here. Otherwise they would. That fish would have ate that.
Yeah, a massive pile.
The big pile of bait there, he don't want to eat there, does he? And it is right on that cusp between dark and light. I need to be in, there we go, look, the bird, even the bird generally most of the time is at the back. I think redo it.
Yeah, redo it then. Let's do it.
While they're here, I can whip that in and out pretty easy with a pole. Just try and get it more at the back.
This area.
Yeah.
Right? Same where it is now, really, just back.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to move the rig. I can just tell by watching this what's going on here. The colour of the bottom, the bait, everything is leading me to think that they don't want to be this close to the camera. And I don't actually know how close to the camera that is, so I can only go by what I'm seeing, trying to move the rig. I'm going to move the rig. Now, when I'm looking at the spot, I can tell now, having seen carp, that they don't want to feed too close to the camera. Now, when you look at the spot as well, the main body of it is quite pale in colour, and then there's a dark line. And what that tells me is, all the time I've been baiting since the camera's been in there, that dark line is the divide between where they eat and where they don't. And the bait that's currently on the spot is sat on that line. It's right on the edge, but it's the nearest edge to the camera. If you had the same edge away from the camera, I'm sure they'd eat there happily, but this camera is in position. They know it's there. I can tell by watching the fish, they want to eat. They almost do and they don't like it. But when I've seen them at the back of the spot, they're far more confident. They drop down. When I baited last night, I put 2 spoons of bait out. When I looked at it this morning, the one that was left was the one very close to the camera. The stuff at the back appears to be gone. So I'm pretty certain what is stopping these fish properly feeding at the moment is the fact there isn't any bait further away from the camera. It's all the bait that is there is too close to the camera. So for that reason, I'm going to take the rig in and I'm going to put it further away from the camera. You know, in an ideal world, we'd have it right in front, but I don't think they're happy eating there. And from what I'm watching, they're not. So redo the rig, swing it out away from the bank a bit more, away from the lens, and I'm sure they'll feed there far more confident than they will where it is now. That's the plan anyway. Hook point is knackered. New rig. Okay, so rig's out of the water. Just come back, check the camera. Fish turned up straight away. Dropped down onto that patch of food. right next to where this rig was, to be fair, but he spooked off. Did not like it. He ate the food and then bolted, leaving a trail of dust. They don't want to eat that close to the camera. I'm adamant of it. And I think a repositioned rig, a little bit of bait further out, where they're more comfortable, could make the difference here. Just got to sort a new rig out first. Right, rig's in position. Bridge has just had a look on the camera for me, said it's pretty much perfectly, well, exactly where I wanted it. So the little adjustment I've made is sweet. I am going to chuck a little bit of extra bait in, just a bit further back, behind that patch that I keep talking about. I need to look at it for myself, but yeah, apparently the rig's gone perfectly in position. Bait potentially fallen a little bit tight to the lead, and the reason for that is there was a load of paste, gooey, lovely stuff in the pot, and I moulded a load of it around that hook bait, so that would have added quite a bit of extra weight, so probably hasn't kicked away as well. But I'm not worried, as long as the hook link isn't kicked up, I'm not fussed. Sink the old line, then we're good to go. There was a carp right there. Just off here, he was rod length or so out. You see that on the camera?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, let's get this little bit of bait in. Right, so rig back in position. 10 minutes or so has passed. The fish has just turned up, a common this time. I haven't seen a common yet, I don't think. And dropped down onto the patch of bait that's on that sort of borderline between light and dark. Had a mouthful and off he's gone. He sort of kicked my rig out a little bit, which has done me a favour. He did land a bit close to the lead. Like I say, that added weight to the hook bait with the sort of pasty stuff around it, I think caused that. But it's kicked it away from the lead a little bit, which is nice. I would rather it was sat a little bit further away. Not dead straight, but not too tight. So it's in a good position now. And just got I think just a waiting game now. The fish are turning up, they're visiting the spot. They're never really feeding with much intent, but they are dropping down, they are eating. I just wish the bait I put out last night had been cleared. Just would mean that there's less food down there, but it is what it is. At least we're seeing them. And the rig's, I think, in a much better place now. Typical, isn't it? They're just happily eating in front of the camera now. It now seems they just only want to eat in front of the camera. Maybe they just built up a bit of here we go, coming back. Right, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, he's having a good go. There's a few of them now. That's that common again. Go on! Look how long it is. Climbing over each other. Go on. This is what we want.
Destroyed that bit of paint now.
Yeah, just waft it though. Every time they eat it, they sort of kick their head and tail and waft it about, which is better. I'd rather a bit more of an even spread of food down there.
It was all clustered in.
Yeah. Oh, we've got tench now. We've got tench feeding now. Free tench. Free tench feeding now. Oh no, go away. This looks like he's going to have my rig. He has no. Oh wow!
Oh wow, he's miles away from it.
Yeah, look, much closer to the screen. Go away, tench. Go away, tench. Go away, tench. Look at him, yes. These are getting confident now. Look, 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 look. Go on, go on, go on, go on. Oh, yes, he's very. Yes, he's literally there. Oh. Inches.
The one behind it.
Yeah. Inches.
He's back here.
You know the one I threw out that landed behind it?
That's that one he
It's
took.
that one he took, yeah.
Is that one you said might have landed on your leader?
No.
Oh, that one's still there.
Mm. Is that a tench?
Yeah.
Yeah, tench. Yeah. Come on. I wonder if we should punch it in a tiny bit. Tench, go away. I pray I don't catch a tench. I really do. Go on, that's that common again, mate. He wants catching. He's confident, he is. Do you know what though? I feel like I think I've caught that fish.
Oh, before?
Mm-hmm. I caught one out of Little Bay in the winter. 29, 28 pound. Very similar shape to that.
No.
No, he's beyond me.
In front of you.
Go on. Go on, left, turn left, turn left, turn left, turn left. Now when you feel like you should have just left the rig where it was.
Exactly where it fed.
Go on. Go on. Go on. There, there, there. Oh, so close. Oh, he was so close. Go on.
He's getting caught.
So close, man. It's that common again. He's just wafted my hook bait again. Oh, he's so close. His peck like rubbed my hook bait. He was like that. Hi, hook bait.
Bye, hook bait.
Coming back, or is that a tench?
That's him.
Looks like a tench to me. Go away, tench.
They're well deceived when they're swimming towards you.
That common, mate, needs to be caught. He keeps sampling.
28 pounder.
He keeps sampling that area, doesn't he? Have you noticed how many times he's dropped down next to my lead?
Likes
It's his favourite bit.
Do you reckon that is one you call us that big? Do you reckon that big for a scale? Do you reckon how big that carp is?
Yeah, mate, that's an upper 20, yeah. Yeah. That's not a 17 pound common.
It's hard to be seen. Don't know the fish, do you?
No. I would try and show you it if I didn't. They're coming regular now. Every time they come, it's like a mouthful less. Just counting them, like the birds yesterday, counting the baits that they eat. That spoonful of bait I put out, the bait I put out last night, whether all that was eaten or not, I don't know. I think half of it was eaten, half of it was left. But this patch of bait here that sat there all morning is almost
dispersed, isn't it? But it's
causing
not
us
been
trouble
kicked
now.
about.
Yeah, it's getting kicked all over the place. Not causing us trouble, to be fair, but
It's better than it being
it's
that big
slowing the
part.
bite time. Yeah. But it's not a lot of bait. The amount of bait you'd normally fish over,
Yeah.
you'd happily fish over a few handfuls of bait, wouldn't you? That's less than a few handfuls of bait.
Yeah, what's left now is hardly anything.
It's hardly anything. Individual mouthfuls, though, it is a lot.
It's all they're coming in and having now, aren't they?
Yeah, if they stop and fed for 10 minutes, that'd be gone.
Yeah.
But they don't, they're not.
Yeah, nothing stayed, does it?
No. We might be the camera, mate. It's a pretty abnormal thing to have right in your grill, isn't it?
Mm.
They're coming in regular now, mate. Is that a carp or a tench? That's a carp. Oh, it's a carp, there's a carp. Rich, there's a carp feeding on the spot. And he's actually feeding this one. Two carp. Go on. It's that common who wants catching. Go on, Rich. Honestly, I hope I catch one while I'm on the phone to you. I'm not going to, he's swimming off. Oh, there's another common. That might be Rambo, mate. Is that Rambo? What's it called? Sorry, Rich, bye. That's one of the bigger
Tony.
commons, mate. That common at the back could well be Rambo, mate, that. He said it was in there the other day.
I see it when I was in the boat with them. That's when we see come through.
Mate, this is good now. They're like here and eating on the spot. They've turned up today, haven't they?
Didn't think it was going to happen. The wind's not been as savage, has it?
No, it's not. No, it's not pushing them away, is it? It's only a trickle, really.
It's not the 17 mile an hour it was supposed to be.
No, it's not what it was yesterday either. That common at the back that we just saw looked like the biggest fish we've seen. And do you see the slightly gnarly tail that it had?
It was like a banana-y shape, wasn't he?
No, that was the one closer, the one at the back. Oh, let me show you. I'll try and show you a picture of Rambo.
I thought the one at the back was like he had a bit of a banana-y shape to him.
Go on, little scaly carp. Go on, little scaly carp. Turn left. Turn left. Turn left. Turn left. That wasn't left.
So,
That's the same common that's been back a few times. So he's had a look. He's had a look. He's had a look. He's just gone over, yeah. Is he coming back though? There we go, look, he's back. That's that common again. Oh, is that the smaller mirror? What one was that?
I love the hose.
I don't know if that was common or mirror. Go on, go on, go on, go on, go on. That's the common that he keeps seeing. That's the common we keep seeing. That I'm pretty sure I've caught before.
Oh,
Here we go. Yes. Go on. Oh. A little scaly stocky, that one, wasn't it? Go on. Come on. Dog, you gotta sit there a minute, pal. Now's not the time for cuddles. I don't mind giving it. I'll give you a little pat on the head. Do you know what I mean? Then gone. Just like there's little weird, just in outs. Mm.
Like small amounts of bait.
Yeah.
It's literally one upper load. Bait like ones.
They're not really clouding it up, mate, either. I was worried about, like, the reason them whole board isn't in it, I was worried they'd cloud it up. They haven't done that at all.
Even when they've done on the other bit, then
I don't need to fish out with whole boilies. I would never have them out there, whole 18s, really. Little mirror just come past, little scaly one. Come on guys, eat. Carp on the spot, Jim. Back of the spot. He just sort of... Go on, come back and have a go, mate. He wants to have a go, doesn't he? Is he coming back?
Yeah.
He's coming back, he's coming back. Right, Jim.
So you just catch it, bye.
Hang on. All right, there's a few coming.
Pardon?
There's a few coming now. Go on. Go on, 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 go on. Go on. They swam off.
Oh. I thought you were lucky charm.
No, they're still there, they're still there.
Let's come back.
Yeah. Go on, be my lucky charm, Jim.
Literally just said 12:30 it just goes dead and then just 2 swimming.
Come on, Carp.
You must feel so on edge all the time.
It's on edge ain't the word, honestly, on edge ain't the word.
On edge more than normal.
I'm literally like waiting.
It's so cool though.
Will you let me come to the next one?
Of course I will. Here we go. Here comes a carp. Go on. Go on. Go on. I'd love to hook one while I'm on the phone to you. Come on. They're eating in the weed on the back of the spot now.
Probably where it's been blushed off though, isn't it?
Just drop down on the main spot.
This is too tense, my heart can't cope.
There you go, there's another one there. It's so, honestly, it's so much fun. They're back, they're back, they're back. Common, back of the spot. Go on, turn left. Look, 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 look. It's not a bad common, that, mate. Oh, that's not a bad fish, mate. Another one. See, they're hitting the edges of the spot now. Like,
Coming back the other way.
come on, come this way. Why are they hitting that edge? Like, there's food here, like. See them, aren't they? Working the edges now.
Oh, another one.
Where one feeds, the others feed. It's making me shiver.
He's going away, isn't he?
Yeah, like I feel like, look at the back of the spot clouding up, look.
It's not ideal that clouding up in the back though, is it?
Whoa, proper clouding up, isn't it? Look at that.
It's just coming over, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But they're like on the back edge now. Why are they there? They're probably working that spot deeper and deeper down the shelf. Go on, come on, he's coming this way. He's facing the right way, look.
Yeah.
Just follow the edge. Keep coming, turn that way, turn that way. Come on, go on, go on. Yes, 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 that's my rig. Go on, please. No, he's missed it on an inch. Oh! That's a decent common, mate. Whoa.
That's the closest.
It's so close. No, it's, well, joint close.
Joint with the other one, yeah, but
They got really close.
Mate, he's
one
there, like,
come just behind it like a couple of hours ago.
inches.
I was just waiting for the.
Right, I've been watching the cameras for a long time now, and in my head, this is what's happening. The first day we got here, the morning period, we missed it. That's when the most activity was. Rod went in the water, fished over a very small amount of bait. The idea being that we'd get a bite quickly. The fish didn't turn up. They were there. They were there beforehand. They weren't there once the rig was in. We saw nothing yesterday. Last night I baited. I didn't put a lot of bait in comparison to what I've been pre-baiting with, but I put a bit of bait out. This morning, when the fish turned up, because the bait hadn't been eaten overnight, I'm fishing a match the hatch, we'll call it. It's a white, but it's covered in the brown paste. It doesn't stand out particularly well over the gravel, and that is on purpose because when you've got birds, when you're fishing in close, bird life's a major problem, like it has been. They see the spot. If you're fishing a bright hook bait, they come over you and they pick you up regularly with a bright hook bait. I always, maybe not always, but I regularly fish bright hook baits over large amounts of bait. When you're fishing with a lot of bait, if your hook bait doesn't stand out, you need a feeding situation where the carp are going to come in, feed with confidence, stay on the spot and eat through what you're feeding them. I think the problem we're getting here is because of the camera, the carp are not confident in staying on the spot. So although they visited the spot lots of times, they're basically doing what I'd call a drive-by. They turn up, drop down, have a mouthful. Very rarely if they had more than one mouthful. Some have, but it's been rare. And then they swim away. When you've got a lot of bait on the spot, which I have had today because of what I put in last night, and your hook bait doesn't stand out, the fish turn up and at random they pick up the bait. I saw this on the underwater I did years ago with Corda, and I know that this happens. So if your hook bait doesn't stand out, you have to have a feeding situation where they're feeding confidently, and that isn't happening here. They're dropping down and then they're moving off. So every time they turn up, let's say I've got 25 food items out there, you've got a 1 in 25 chance of them picking yours up. I am now going to put Ye Old Faithful out there. Squid goo pop up. I've got so many carp on these. When I'm fishing out in the lake, I use this all of the time. The reason I don't do it in the edge, as I said a minute ago, is bird life. So when I fish in the margins, I'm putting a tight patch of bait with a hook bait that doesn't stand out because I'd want to deter the birds. And the idea is the fish come in, they feed confidently, and I'm not quite getting that situation here, and I believe it's because of the camera. When they get near it, they spook. They're turning up now, they're looking for food. So my plan is put this rig in position and then bait it again. And with a bright hook bait, I can afford to have lots of bait on the spot to draw the fish in, and then the bright hook bait, they come onto the spot because of the food that is there. They see the hook bait, they pick it up. These are things that I'm certain of, but I think the camera is making things hard. So I think put a bit more bait in, put a bright one on the spot, and the fish will see the bait. They'll come in, they want the food. I know they do, I can tell by watching them, but they don't want to hang around. So if they turn up to do one of their little drive-bys, they drop down, hopefully see the pink while it's all over. That's the theory. Will it work? Okay, so I've got this times 2. I'm going to do it 2 spoonfuls. As you can see, lots of attraction in there, the liquid. I've broken the boilies up smaller. They seem to like the half boilies more than the whole ones. So they're all halved, bit of hemp, bit of pellet. There's a lot of attraction there. I'm going to do 2 spoonfuls. Well, if you can call that a spoonful. Pink hook bait on the spot. The birds are at bay. I've been using my laser pen to scare them off, so they seem pretty sweet at the minute. As long as I can keep them away from the spot, we're happy days. There's a few tench floating about, but because it's a pop-up, the smaller fish, things like tench, will probably find that bait a little bit alien. And with it suspended up off the bottom, bigger fish, a lot of the time, they're not as aware that it's off the deck. So we'll see what happens. But if I can keep the birds away, and I can keep the tench at bay, we'll see what happens when the carp turn up, if they turn back up. Ignore that bait, ignore that bait. Good lad. That tench has been up to that hook bait. How many times? 5?
I've been seeing it.
5 times? It's been in the water. Look at all the other bait. It's been up to that almost every time it come on the spot. Right, the carp, carp. Look. Go for the pink, go for the pink, go for the pink, go for the pink. Oh, he see it, didn't he? He see it though, didn't he?
Yeah, straight up to it.
He clocked that.
Oh, it's just moved.
Yeah.
Looks like it's dropped down. What made that move?
There's a leaf in that near it. Look, he's going for it again. Go on. He wants it. He knows it's there, mate. He's circling that. Tench flank. Look, he's coming back. Look, he's coming back. Oh, look, they just want it. Mate, put the goo in, mate. This is what they've done on the underwater, mate. You put it in the water and they just want it. That is the first carp that's come onto the spot, and he's 3 times in a row he's gone up to that hook bait. 3 times in a row. Before anything else. You've seen that now, haven't you? All morning,
They haven't took that one once,
we have
have they?
waited for our hook, for them to go near my hook bait. They have not attempted it once. He has been on the spot 3 times in 30 seconds, and every single time, that's what he's gone for. Yes, he shied away from it.
Yeah, but he's better than not.
He's
looking at it at all, isn't it?
clocking that is off the bottom, I think, probably. He knows something's wrong with it, but he wants it. Yes, go on, have it. Have it. That's him again. You want it. He wants it, mate. It's the 4th time. Come back and just eat it.
Shallow. See that swimming over?
Yeah, something, innit? Look here. We're often in the middle of the spot.
Yeah, it's fish above, isn't it?
Go on. Oh, I'm not even going to say go on anymore.
Oh, another one.
Here we go. More. 2 little stock burgers. Look, he wants it. Has he got it? What's he doing? Yes, you got it. Have I got him? Yes, got him. Oh, here we go. Look, watch him, look. Pink every time. Look, go on.
Look at him.
Yes, got him. Yes. That's it, come from the back. Go on. Right, this is good, he's eating. Look how much bait he eats that quickly, look. Wafting that bait down, wasn't he? Look how much he got in his mouth. I actually don't know what to say. I honestly cannot believe that. But once gone, obviously I see him completely nailed. I'm shaking, I've been shaking, this is insane. If this is the carp I think it is, oh my God. There's been a big mirror, been on the spot 4 times, wanting to eat that bait. These have come onto the spot, they've had a mouthful, they've seen that one wallop, they've had it, and we've hooked one. That was intense. Really interesting, look, just sitting on the spot eating, like actually parking up, well you saw, but this carp, this capture will live on as by far one of my favourites, by far one of the most memorable, and something that I'm going to be smiling about for a very, very long time.